Greetings, Malifaux fans. This is Crazy Carl, back with another Malifaux video battle report. Today I'm bringing you a 40 Soulstone scrap played against my buddy Pat the other day. We were playing one of my story encounters for the my upcoming story encounter tournament. Actually, by the time this is out, the story encounter event will be in, I think, a week. It's going to be on the 24th of February. It's going to be an original encounter. The theme of it is going to be kind of an alchemy, collecting the ingredients and brewing the elixir and doing all sorts of cool stuff like that. I think it's going to be a lot of fun. I'm hoping to see a lot of people from out of town. I will post the link to the event on the Weird Forums in the description at the bottom. But in the meantime, you get a little bit of a sneak peek. I have tweaked the rules a little bit on this scenario because I wasn't really happy with how it played out. It was really, really hard, and that seems bad. So basically, the idea for this scenario is there's a hanging tree in the center of the board. The hanging tree's height 5, 2 inches of terrifying 12 around it. And the goal for this game was to do a 2 interact action at height 5 to collect a vine off the tree. To do this, each model in your crew, as long as they're in base contact with the hanging tree, would get a 1 action, which would allow them to take a model within 1 inch and boost it up to their height. So if you have a height 1 model and another height 1 model, they become height 2. And then the model that is boosted can then boost other models. So you basically stack your models on top of each other to let them reach the top of the tree. With that in mind, I took the Bio Gremlins, led by Ophelia, as you have seen, and she brought along 3 young LaCroix, Rami, Raphael, a Bayou Gremlin, and 3 young, along with Lenny. I took Lenny purely because he's height 2. The way you end up stacking the models is you just have them sitting side by side with each model in base contact with the model that's boosting. So that's just how you do that. Pat, for his crew, brought Lucius, 4, what are they called? Guildhounds? Guildhounds, yeah, the dogs. An Ostringer, 2 Wardens, a Guild Guard, and a Drill Sergeant. I think I had something like 5 Soulstones, and Pat had like 3, maybe 2. I'm too lazy to do the math. Pat took Kill Protege on Lenny and Raid, whereas I had hidden a holdout to kind of like bait the thwart, and then Assassinate on Lucius. So I was hoping to get in some good damage, killing off his crew. If I could weaken down his models, I could keep him from getting to height 5 and being able to take the interact action on the hanging tree. As it was, the game started out pretty slowly with both crews just moving up the board. I was being very cautious of the Ostringer. When I first started playing, my buddy Andy had a pair of Ostringers, and I played Bio Gremlins, and they just ripped me a new one every single time we played. So I know to give them a wide berth. So with that said, I sent Raphael and the Bio Gremlin off after the Ostringer. I sent Raphael, I think I might have gotten within 18 inches, but I'm not sure. The Ostringer, as you can see, moved from his deployment zone into this hidey hole, and it did a pretty good job of keeping him hidden, I guess. So I thought it was kind of funny because the Ostringer can just kind of send the bird out from underneath the hole, and then it comes back, and it's all good to go. So I figured Raphael could take a shot or two, and it wouldn't matter too much to him, and then he could take some shots with his gun to kill it off. Pat, for his part, moved up one of his dogs right up to the hanging tree. Later in on turn, I think he had thrown some cards at something, I'm not sure what, and failed his terrifying duel, and the dog ran away. So he realized shortly after that was not such a good idea. He actually took a very good crew for this. With Lucius and 2 Guardians, he has 3 models that don't care about the terrifying, whereas every single model in my crew is willpower 4, meaning I need to have 8 stacked in my hand so that they can get near the hanging tree. I thought this was a really good idea to take my crew at the beginning because I thought I could do a neat little companion craziness that would give me the counter, and then I could run away, and I forgot that terrifying exists. So probably not the best idea for that. The Ortegas would be very good for this, I think, scenario, but whatever. That was not what was going on here. And I think actually Pat has the Ortegas, but I think he just wanted to go with Lucius. So anyway, he advanced his crew up. I advanced mine up, and you can just see we had kind of a standoff going here. Pat did end up overextending a little bit. Turn 1 didn't have very much going on, but turn 2 he moved up one of his Wardens, and I had Rami sitting up on top of the hill, as you will see here. He's got a nice overlook on everything that's going on, and I was very easily able to get some free wounds on one of the Wardens. I don't think I killed it, but I got it pretty darn close, which meant that Ophelia was just able to walk up and pop it off with a couple quick shots. The Slop Hauler moved up to be behind everybody to give me some extra healing. The Slop Hauler is actually very brutal in a LaCroix crew because usually you'd have to be very careful with your reckless activations, but when you have a Slop Hauler, you can just do whatever the hell you want. It doesn't really matter. And if you have 2 Slop Haulers, everything can go reckless every turn, and it doesn't matter. with the youngs having such a long range and you just having some really good shooting models, it's really, really powerful. So going into turn 3, I'd already killed off one Warden. I believe I killed off the other with Lenny, and that left Lucius to deal with, which is actually Lucius is actually pretty brutal for my crew because he's terrifying 12 and all my guys are willpower 4. I tried to mitigate this somewhat by having Ophelia step back from a little bit because she has a 2-inch range, Lenny has a 2-inch range, and the youngs have gunfighters. I have a lot of stuff that has 2-inch melee range, and Lucius only has a 1-inch melee range. Problem is, Lucius then just walked next to them, so there wasn't a lot I could do about that. I was taking damage no matter what. I don't think anything actually failed any morale duels, but it did mean that I was gonna have a really hard time getting to the top of the tree. The way I originally had the scenario worded is as long as you were boosted by a model or had been boosted by a model, you had -1 defense. So it would be a lot easier for his guys to just do some real major damage to me, especially if the Austringer lived, which it did not. Spoiler alert. It did kill off Raphael after a few shots. However, the Bio-Gremlin was able to come in and run away because I lost Raphael, and that meant that I didn't have any big heavy hitters to take out the Austringer because they have something like 6 or 8 wounds, and a Bio-Gremlin just can't get through that and deal with an Austringer. The Austringer will probably one-shot it because it gets a plus on damage flips, so I ended up moving him away after Raphael died. That said, Pat had a bunch of dogs, which would be really, really good for this scenario. They're willpower 5, so they're pretty resilient willpower-wise, and they can companion activate, and that means they could very easily get to the top of that tree and grab the counter. As it was, I ended up just killing all of them because I'm not a very nice person. But in the meantime, Pat killed off all of my youngs. He almost killed off Lenny. He got Lenny down pretty low. Lucius killed off my slop hauler, which left me with Lenny, Rami, Ophelia, and this little Bio-Gremlin that you see here running away as fast as his little feet can take him. And I still had an Austringer to deal with. I mean, Pat didn't have a lot left. I was able to kill off his guild guard, and it didn't really do much. It was, chasing after the Bio-Gremlin for a little while, but ended up not doing much. The Austringer eventually came out because otherwise it was going to sit there and do nothing, and Rami was able to very easily kill it off with a couple shots. I don't think I even used the trigger to kill it off. I just did like a moderate and another moderate and killed it off. Lucius was a little bit more difficult for me to deal with, but as I said, as I said earlier, I had a bunch of Soulstones, whereas Pat did not. And I'm mistaken, he didn't kill off all my youngs yet, but he did kill I think he killed off the last one this turn. It might have been with the Austringer, but I'm not 100% sure. But I know that little guy wasn't long for the world, and he ended up passing away very quickly. And this picture actually reminds me I need to touch up, now that you can all see my painting flaws, you see the top of Lenny's head there, and he doesn't have the same green highlights that the other gremlins have, because I just kind of forgot that it was there. I need to paint in that bald spot. Here you can see a shot of Rami aiming down the field at the Guild Austringer that you will see is no longer there. Pat killed off my last youngin and left me with not a lot of models. I actually had exactly height 5 worth of models left. So the last turn or two, I was able to focus my efforts. Ophelia getting normal straight flips against Lucius and doing focused attacks with Lenny against Lucius meant I was able to take him down pretty quickly. I think I got the trigger on Lenny to give him +2 damage. Lucius is only defense 4 if he doesn't have any guardsmen around him. He gets +2 defense if he has a guardsman, but being defense 4 against CB5 and CB6 models, it just didn't last very long, especially when I had so many Soulstones. So I was pretty easily able to take him out, crowded in my gremlins around the hanging tree. I was fortunate enough to have enough high cards in my hand to not run away from it in terror. So I was able to surround the tree and get my boosts off and get to the top. So I was able to collect the vine, which gave me 2 points. This is how the points were before. They're not that way now. Sorry, guys. So, spoiler alert, you're not going to be prepared for the scenario if you watch this video, but you'll have an idea what it's about. I didn't steal the vine, which is another point that I was going to have, and I had my master with it at the end of the game, which gave me a point. So, Pat did not get his kill protege or his raid. I got 1 point for my holdout and 2 for my assassination. So, it ended up being a 6-0, if I remember correctly. It was a really fun game, and I'm really glad Pat helped me playtest the scenario and tweak it out. I hope you guys are able to make it to the event, any of you that are in the Binghamton, New York area, and I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and I'll see you next time.